This podcast is sponsored by Great White Hot Sauce. Do you like hot sauce? Then you'll love Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch handmade hot sauce. It's the sauce that bites. Find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. You won't regret it. The guilty pleasure song. You know, that song that when you're driving all by yourself, you crank up and sing along to, and sometimes dance in your seat to? Yeah, that guilty pleasure song. We all have them, and so do you. So, what's your guilty pleasure song? Or songs? Listen in, see if they made our list. Don't you just love guilty pleasures?
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean with his co-host Jack Calabrese. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
All right. Thank you once again to the wonderful Amanda for that wonderful introduction. This is Milk Crates and Turntable, a music discussion podcast. Right now, we're streaming live over Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch. This is a weekly podcast, as I said, discussing music. We'll bring on my co-host in a second. This week's episode is Guilty Pleasures, those guilty pleasure songs. You know, the songs that you're kind of embarrassed to listen to when there's people around, but you listen to them when you're by yourself. We all know this, yes. If you like this podcast, subscribe to it, follow it, comment on it, rate it. I will say this again at the end of the show also. So, without further ado, let's bring on my co-host, the impeccable, the undeniable. I can't. This producer makes me say this stuff. I'm just going to say Jack Calabrese.
Hey, it's me, the impeccable, the undeniable.
Hey, what's up, buddy? I didn't start it. The producer starts it.
Yeah.
They
How
write
you doing?
the script.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good, although the weather kind of blows here right now. I got to tell you.
Well, I'm in sunny South Florida, so it's always nice, even when it's not. So tonight's topic is guilty pleasure songs, right? It's kind of an interesting subject in the sense that people will tend to confuse guilty pleasure songs with one-hit wonders. You know, I
suppose they can be one and the same.
They could be, but not necessarily. Like My Sharona, you could say, well, no, they're not a one-hit wonder. The Knack. I was just kind of throwing some out there. That's their biggest hit. But you know, that's not a guilty pleasure song. You know, well, Aldo Nova, Life is Just a Fantasy, isn't a guilty pleasure song. That's a good song.
Well, it depends. See, here's the thing about guilty pleasures, at least from my perspective, is it depends upon your perspective. Like, I would imagine that the guys from Metallica, if you ask them, there's probably at least one of them that says, hey, look, you know, we listen to heavy, heavy music. We play the heaviest of music. But you know what? Every now and again, when I'm driving in the car and I Can't Smile Without You from Barry Manilow comes on, I give it a listen. And then there you might actually interview Barry Manilow, and Barry Manilow says, hey, you know what? I'm a singer-songwriter or whatnot. But every now and again, when I'm cleaning the house, I like to listen to Enter Sandman by Metallica.
The difference is Enter Sandman is not a guilty pleasure.
Well, it would be for Barry Manilow.
You think?
It could be, sure.
I don't know. I think you're reaching for that one, but
I don't think so. Wait a minute. You're telling me that Barry Manilow, if he's sitting around with his buddies having cucumber sandwiches, that, if he said, hey, I was listening to, or somebody said, hey, I was looking at your playlist, you have Metallica on there? What are you, crazy? And he'd
What?
say, well, I love those guys.
So, I'm so nah. You're so. Are you making this up? Are you
Yeah.
fucking for real right now?
Yeah, you're damn right I'm making it up.
Like, does Barry Manilow and his friends sit around listening to yacht rock? And to them, heavy metal is, oh my goodness.
Actually, you know what I heard Barry Manilow listens to a lot? Milk Crates and Turntables.
Well, there you go. No one ever said Barry Manilow was a fool, right?
Talk about a guy with good taste, Mr. Guilty Pleasure.
Let me ask you about guilty pleasures. Do you think that these songs are are they gender driven? And I'm not going to get into this. Is not a today's world talk, if you know what I mean. I'm just straight out saying, do men have more guilty pleasure songs than women? Are women more well-rounded in what they listen to, and the fact that they'll listen to I don't know, How Deep Is Your Love with anybody around, whereas I wouldn't?
Yeah,
Now, this is two meatheads talking.
But I think you bring up a good point. I think personally, from a psychological, standpoint, from an emotional standpoint, that guys are probably more protective. I mean, think about it when you and I were growing up and we were teenagers and we were hanging up the Highlands, or we were hanging, down the center and whatnot. If I was standing there with you and JC and Okie and Dookie and Tal and Magmo and all of those guys, and I was like, oh my God, I just got the new, I don't know, Bette Midler record.
Good. That's a good one.
Bette Midler record. Are you telling me that those guys wouldn't tear me a new one? They'd be all over me.
Oh, absolutely, we would. So,
by the way, for the record, I'm not really a Bette Midler fan.
I'm glad you put that out there, because I was ready to use that.
She's a fine performer. And strangely enough, there's a link there. Do you know that Bette Midler's piano player in the bathhouses and whatnot, or wherever she played, was Barry Manilow?
She didn't play in bathhouses.
She played in cabaret clubs.
Although sure, bathhouses have good
wherever
acoustic.
Wherever she was playing. But Barry Manilow was her piano player.
Well, there you go. Like
that's where we started off.
Good acoustics in the bathhouses, I bet.
I'm sure.
It's like being in an opera house, I would think.
All this steam is rusting up my piano strings.
So one of our viewers, because we are streaming live over Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, one of our viewers, Renee Torchinolti, says men are more embarrassed to admit it than women. And so that was kind of to my point. Are women less prone to have a guilty pleasure song?
I think that women are more emotionally grounded all around. And I think that guilty pleasure songs just factor into all of the rest of it.
Okay. So this is kind of a different type of episode, this episode of our podcast, whereas we're actually going to bring somebody in, and Jack and I are going to play a little Name That Guilty Pleasure. Now, I don't know how this is going to go. We've never brought anyone else on the show. It's not really that kind of show, but in a minute, we're going to bring on somebody podcasts are a very gray area when it comes to playing music. They could pull you down. They could pull you off the platform if there's a copyright infringement. Apple Podcast might accept it, but Google Podcast and Spotify don't. There's always copyright issues, so we can't play any of these songs. Not to say that we're not going to possibly sing some of these songs to get the point across, but we brought somebody. We're going to bring him on in a minute, but first I have to get this out of the way. One of our assistant, our co-producers, my oldest brother, Colin McLean. he actually, he's very, he's a man's man. He's an old tough guy. He actually, I got it out of him what his guilty pleasure songs are. And the first one is he's All Out of Love by Air Supply from 1980, right? Says he absolutely loves it. But the song he loves the most. Now, this is an interesting one. I don't know if this is a guilty pleasure song, but I guess to him it is because he probably wouldn't play it in front of anybody else. It's Alvin Bishop, Fooled Around and Fell in Love from 75.
I don't buy that one. I think that's a great song.
I do too, but evidently so there you go. So what do people consider their guilty pleasure songs?
Well, let me just put it to you this way. And again, that whole scenario that I just played out with us down the center, if I had said, oh my God, I love that song, Fooled Around and Fell in Love, I don't think anybody would react adversely to it in any way, shape, or form.
I don't either. If I'm driving in a car with him and he's driving, and it's always the driver chooses the songs. If he puts on Fooled Around and Fell in Love, I'd have no issue with it.
Yeah. Nope.
Now, if he switches, to All Out of Love by Air Supply, well, I'm fucking looking at him. Like, he's getting a look like, really? Really? We're gonna listen to this together. This isn't a John Candy movie. This isn't happening.
It's it's a different reaction. If you're in a car full of especially guys and you're heading down to Foxborough to go to the Patriots game, and Colin forgets that he has his mixtape in, and All Out of Love comes on, that car is going to go bananas. If it's just you and him driving and that song comes on, you slowly turn to him and say, are you fucking shitting me?
Yeah, he's getting the look from me. And that's
just the way it is. Fucking shitting
call us toxic males, call us whatever you want to call us, but this is the way it is. That's the way it is. I don't care what anybody says. So, and then my friend Todd Sockman, I've known him since I was in the Air Force. We've been through a lot of shit together. He just retired as a police chief in a city in California. So he's pretty much a man's man. He told me, and it's hard to get this out of these people, but he told me every time Spandau Ballet comes on, so true, funny how it seems, from 1983, he can't help but sing along. So this is true
to the world.
This is a true. Says the song goes, guilty pleasure.
So that goes back to our conversation last week about early MTV. Every time the opening notes of True Spandau Ballet came on, I was like, God, I'm going in the kitchen and making a Pop-Tart.
Yeah,
I'm going pee.
I listened to it. I did.
Well, there's two things. The other thing that may come into play with some of these guilty pleasure songs is they get played to shit.
Yeah, no doubt. So, all right, let's bring on, I guess, guest. The producer, one of our producers, reached out. Since we couldn't, like I said, play the music, he reached out. He got this guy. He goes by one name, Flintstone. So I haven't heard the guy yet. I'm the one that runs the show, and I still haven't heard him. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring him on, and we're going to have a little contest. All right. He's going to start singing a song, and we're going to buzz in. Now, you buzz in or ping in or whatever noise, kind of like a Jeopardy thing, right? So we're going to get 1 point if you name the song, another point if you say who sings it, and then another point if you get the year that he sang it or they sang it. Now, again, we have to bring in a singer, people.
Wait a minute. Before you bring him in, care to make it interesting?
Here we go.
$500
to see who wins.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got to get to? How many points? First one to how many points?
I don't know. $500.
I'm game, buddy.
I'm not that game, especially considering who's actually doing the singing. And don't forget to let the people that are joined in from home that they can play along as well.
Yeah, well, they'll if they answer it before us, then we lose. We both lose. So for the people listening to the podcast, I'm going to bring on our singer onto the screen. Again, he goes by one name, Flintstone. I've never heard him. The producer got him. So without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. What the hell just happened there? Let's get this ball rolling. Let's bring on the man called Flintstone with the golden pipes.
Oh, my God.
That would be me.
All right, for the podcast listeners,
Yes.
I'm just going to say, last week I said Joe Jackson had a face made for radio. This guy has a face made for podcasts.
He's in the right place.
That's good. Yeah, I'm on the right place. I've joined two guys that are very similar.
We all look like the before guys on a Viagra commercial.
Right. Right.
Speak for yourself, Tiny. Anyways. All right, so Flintstone.
That's me.
Let's get this ball. I don't want to know anything about you. I'm not interested in knowing your background.
Okay.
This isn't an interview. You are strictly hired, I guess. I don't even know if they're paying you. We'll see if you earned your money.
I'm getting paid in these.
Oh, you got a King of Facebook coffee mug. Look at that.
Yeah, your producer sent me 20 of these.
Oh, jeez. There we go.
He said, make whatever you can out of them.
All right, let's get to this contest and get it over with. All right, so whenever you're ready, Flintstone, start singing.
Let me warm up my pipes. Me. All right, I'm ready. I have my microphone. You guys ready?
He's holding a potato masher.
It's a potato masher with a paper towel around it. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, do it, man.
Song number one. Well, Air Supply's off the list, and so is Spandau Ballet, so I got to take those right off the list. So.
Thanks for sharing.
Here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
My daddy was a cop on the east side of Chicago, back in the USA, back in the bad old days, in the heat of a summer's night.
Stop.
All right, you got it.
I buzzed in. The night.
Actually, I think Jack buzzed it first.
Stop talking. Just sing, okay? Just sing. The night Chicago died, 1975.
Wait, who's the artist?
I don't know.
Paper Lace.
Okay, you want to split the points because you both got one.
Okay.
So my guess in terms of the year is 1973.
Mm-hmm. You're both wrong. It's 1974. Wrong, Mr. Encyclopedia of Music.
Hey, we got the title and the artist. That's not too bad.
You did. It's The Night Chicago Died by Paper Lace, but it was 1974.
So Scott or Mark, did either of you guys have the 45?
I did.
I listened on WRKO radio on my mother's radio.
All right.
All right, what's next?
All right, so you both get a point for that one.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Just sing.
Number two. Hold on. All right. Moving forward, using all my breath.
I got that. I'll stop the world and melt with you by Modern English. 1983.
All right, you got 1 out of 3 on that one.
Oh
no, I don't think so. I would say that was Modern English.
It is Modern English. You guys are right on that. The title of the song is
Stop the World.
No, I'll melt with you.
I Melt With You is the name of the song. And you got the year wrong.
82.
It's 82.
Why did you get the answer after me?
You both get the point on that one.
Okay.
1 point each. All
Let's
right.
do the two.
All
Oh,
right.
my Lord.
Guilty pleasure. Here we go. You ready? Hold on, little girl. Show me what he's done to you. Stand up, little girl. A broken heart can't be that bad when it's through. It's through. Fate will twist the both of you. So come on, baby. Come on over. Let me be the one to show you.
Okay,
I'm the
just stop.
one
Just-
that wants to be with you.
Jack's on it. Good job, Jack. Keep on going.
Ah, God.
Who is it?
So the song is "Be With You," right?
Right.
And the band, I can't remember the name of the band. You'll say
Got
it, and I'll.
Just say it.
It's Mr. Big.
Mr. Big,
Oh,
yeah.
To
That's
be
why.
with you.
That's
1988.
No, 1991.
and I got to dispute. Melt with You is not a guilty pleasure song. I got to dispute that.
my
That's a
guilty
one-hit
pleasure.
wonder.
It was definitely a one-hit wonder, but definitely not a guilty pleasure song.
Yeah. So
Unless
but
you're
we'll
in
take the
Metallica
points.
or Barry Manilow.
We'll take the points. Move on. Stop.
All
Keep
right.
singing Flintstone.
Thank you. How you like my singing so far, by the way?
It's beautiful, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree
The
with Jack.
choir tonight must be missing it.
Jack, look at this.
A voice made for a submarine. Just sing. You're not part of the
Wait.
show.
The Go-Go's need to be in the Hall of Fame.
You, you know, just sing. You were brought
All right.
out to sing.
Sorry
Oh,
about that.
Good Lord.
All right.
He's trying to take over.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. In the morning light, my mother says, when you're gonna live your life right. Oh, mother dear, you're not the fortunate ones. Girls, they want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun
Did
by
you just
singing
sing? Did you
opera.
just sing the answer?
Oh, right. Well, he had it. He had it there. He
Yeah,
buzzed
I
it.
had
You
it.
didn't know that. I did. No, I'm disputing this. You didn't
I
know.
had
That's
that.
a throw out. Throw it away. Nope.
Oh, come on.
Nope. He sang the song. He sang the title.
No, I was making noises long before he got to the title.
You could have said something else for all I know. I'm not going down like that. Nope.
Please.
Nope.
You're
All
a big
right.
giant
Good
I
cry.
show my rules.
All right.
Next song. Don't sing the title, Flintstone.
Okay. Here we go. Uh-huh.
Take on me.
You guys will like this one. You were working as a waitress in a cocktail bar.
That's Jack's song.
Don't You Want Me by the Human League. And I will guess 1982.
You got 2 out of 3.
81?
Do you want me human? It was 1981.
Yeah, I was a year off.
You got to
Maybe
give me a
just
chance.
months off.
Why you give him a chance to get the year, but then you bark out the answer before I can say it?
No, I did. I
Is
gave
the-
you good.
Is
Scott,
the
you are the
mix in on
biggest
this?
crybaby
In this
I've ever seen in
horrible-
my entire life.
Hey, so far I got Jack with 5 and Scotty with 2. So that $500
That's not
bucks
a
better be
guilty
ready.
This producer, where did this? All right, let's just get this going. Keep it going.
All right. You ready for another one? Here we go.
I guess so. What's the score?
Okay. Jack has 5 and you have 2, Mr. Wonderful.
Good.
All right. Ready? I was kissing Valentino by a crystal blue Italian stream. All right.
So easy.
So that's
So
Manic
easy.
Monday by the Bangles, 1987.
Oh, 87. Yeah, no, you're off on that one. Sorry.
But I got the first 2, right?
You get the first 2 right. It was the Bangles, Manic Monday. And it was
80, I'd say that's 80, 85.
It was 85.
All right.
Scott gets a
Hey,
point.
Scott, Prince
What?
wrote that song.
That's your song.
Scott
No,
Prince
he-
wrote that song. He also, did you know
Oh,
that Prince actually wrote Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor? Probably her biggest hit.
oh. Yeah, and he wrote I Feel For You by Chaka Khan. Move on with the show.
Okay, moving on.
See, wait. These are not guilty pleasure songs.
Okay.
I think you're a fraud. I think you're a guilty pleasure song fraud.
Okay.
You got
Well,
one more chance.
all right.
And
I got
I'm
one more.
pulling the
You're
plug.
going to give me one more
So,
chance. All right. Let me go to the big ones then.
You've been playing all these are hits. They're not. I'd listen to Manic Monday with Jack in the car.
Okay. Well, good enough. Well, that's you. Maybe you're more masculine than everybody else. I don't know.
Oh, see,
Are you ready?
You're getting killed on the chat line. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. They can kill me all they want. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Oh, Lord.
I'd run right into hell and back. I'll never lie to you, and that's a fact.
Oh,
But I'll never forget the way you feel right now. Oh, no. No way.
Jesus Christ. Next song.
And I would do anything for love.
Next song.
Oh, wow.
But I won't do that.
Now, Mark, credit to you. First off, that's a good one. Number two, I appreciate a little bit of vibrato. You put a little bit more into that one. And
Yep.
number three, you get a point because in one weird way, you just honored Jim Steinman, who is the principal songwriter for Meatloaf and just passed away in the last week.
Right.
Bravo.
Wrote all of his good stuff.
Yeah, he did.
So no points on that one, Sky? Is that what you're saying?
Next song, please. Going way longer than I expected. But
Okay. Here we go.
Okay.
The marching band came down along Main Street. The soldier blues fell in behind. Go ahead, Jack.
Be a Hero by Bo Donaldson and the Haywards.
Good job, Jack. Look at the brain on Jack.
1972, I'll guess.
You're wrong on the year. It was 74.
I was going to say 74.
Oh, were you? I'm sorry.
I get the point.
You get a point on that, Scotty. You need it, believe me, because he's killing you.
All right, you get one more song and this contest is over.
All righty.
This is double or nothing points. This is double points.
All right, here we go. Double or nothing. A little obscure, but a very good song. You guys will enjoy this one. Ready?
More obscure than Bo Donaldson.
And I'm not enjoying any of this.
Here we go. Down in the valley so low. Hang your head over.
Good Lord.
Hear the wind blow.
Hear
the wind blow, dear. Hear the wind blow. Hang your head over.
Oh, this is going way too long.
Hear the wind blow.
Okay. All right. You know what? You did a great job, Flintstone.
No, you need to guess that song, sir.
It sounds like something Conway Twitty would sing.
Or Berman Husky. How about Berman Husky?
That's a good one. It's Down in the Valley by Grossberger from Stir Crazy.
Oh, that's it. Show's that's it. You're off the show.
No, you're off the show.
No, you're off the show.
I'll sing you off the show.
Thanks for your non-talent.
Right.
Flintstone.
Scotty, don't be a loser. You lost.
Goodbye, Mark.
Hold on. Jack, you had 9. Scotty had 4. Collect your $500
The
before.
producer just got fired. You just got a producer fired.
Enjoy the show, guys. I love your show. Take care.
Thanks. Thanks.
Have
Goodbye.
a good one.
Bye. Oh, my Lord. Oh, good Lord. If we could go to a commercial break, I certainly would right now. So,
hey, should we pick up?
I don't even know where.
We've had a few people bounce in some really kind of interesting guilty pleasure. I don't know if you can scroll back down a little bit, but somebody, was it Mr. Larson that actually said "Careless Whispers"?
So I have a little list of "Careless Whisper" is a pretty good guilty pleasure song, right?
It's not as bad as if you were a big fan of "Wake Me Up Before You Go," but "Careless Whisper" is right up there. And I'll tell you, along those lines, and we always talk about concert stories, but I actually had the opportunity not to see Wham, but I actually saw George Michael's first tour. And And I wasn't on a date.
Were you bachelor number 3?
Yeah.
Did you
Great
get
show.
selected?
Great
So-
show. Now looking back, I'm so happy that I got to see him.
Let me I'm gonna start off with some of my guilty pleasure songs. All right. I'm just gonna lay it all out on the table. So one of my favorite, and this kind of leads into another one. Okay. So one of my favorite guilty pleasure songs is by the Bronski Beat from 1984, Small Town Boy. Okay. A lot of people might not know the name of the song, but it kind of goes like this. Run away, turn away, run away, turn away, run away.
Oh my God.
Right.
Are you playing ventriloquist? Is Flintstone back there?
Leave in the morning with everything you own in a little black case. So that's my Jimmy Somerville imitation, right? Now, Jimmy Somerville actually has an amazing voice. There's really no way to describe his voice. He has, I guess, what do you call it? It's what's the high, the high pitch and
Falsetto?
he has a falsetto, but it's not like the Barry Gibb falsetto. I like to say that Jimmy Somerville sounds like Mickey Mouse with a fabulous voice, right? So if you listen to that song, that's exactly who he sounds, but he's got a fantastic, such a unique voice. So this leads into my second guilty pleasure song. So he leaves Bronski Beat and jumps in and starts with Richard Coles, who was a musician, starts the Communards, right? And the Communards do, with Jimmy Somerville singing, does a cover of Never Can Say Goodbye. Now, that was originally done by the Jackson 5, and then Gloria Gaynor turned it into a big disco hit in the 70s. But I'm telling you, the Communards, that is the best version of that song. Never Can Say Goodbye.
No.
I think it
No.
is. Have you heard it? Have you heard the Communards do it?
Do you know? Yes. Do you know who does the best version of Never Can Say Goodbye?
Who?
Isaac Hayes.
No, that's
Isaac Hayes, 17 minutes long. The Isaac Hayes version is amazing.
I never can say
Totally the opposite end of the spectrum. You know, you're way up there in Mickey Mouse land, and Isaac Hayes is way, way, way down low.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's a great, but it's a guilty pleasure because not only do I sing that song, I bounce in my seat. Go watch it on YouTube. The Communards, Never Can Say Goodbye. It's great.
I have a tough time with you saying that song, and I get it. You know, I guess part of it is who's actually singing it, but that's a great song. I don't know that I would qualify that as being a real guilty pleasure.
So the Jackson 5 sing it, you say it's cool. Gloria Gaynor sang it in the 70s. It was a disco hit. Disco sucks. No one likes it that doesn't like disco. You don't hear it. And then you have the Communards come up and they sing it, and it's even more bouncy. It's even more dancey. It's a bigger sound. And it's not a song that I'm going to play. Listen to the Communards. Listen to them sing it. It's not a song I'm playing with you in the car, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I suppose that we're both a little bit at risk here. We're having this conversation because we could compromise our credibility in terms of the music that we like. But my guilty pleasures are far, far more cheesier than that.
Well, give me one.
Well, it's funny. Sean Robson just said Leo Sayer, I Feel Like Dancing, which is not the song that I was going to mention, but it was the artist, Leo Sayer, When I Need You.
Oh,
syrupy, sticky, cheesy, goofy,
that is
overproduced.
That is some 70s cheese right there.
But I love that song.
Well, another falsetto, right? Another guy
Oh,
that's a
yeah.
falsetto, you know?
I can't even do it. Even
Somebody
post
just said,
vasectomy, I can't hit that.
so Redbone, Come and Get Your Love, isn't, that's not a guilty pleasure song. I
No,
think
that's a one-hit wonder.
that's a one-hit wonder. I don't think anybody would say, that's a, like, if I'm with Dean driving and he turns on, that's the best way to put it. If we're driving, he puts on.
God, Unleash. I want to hear embarrassing. I want to hear embarrassing stuff.
Yeah, that's so. All right, all right. So I like listening to Culture Club, Time.
That's a great song.
But it's not a song. It's a guilty pleasure song, right?
I would venture to guess that it's not a song that's played in the Patriots locker room to get everybody riled up for a game.
What about, all right, Dead or Alive? You spin me right round, baby, right round.
Not a guilty pleasure song.
How about Brand New Lover? What I really need to do is find myself a brand new lover, somebody that relies on me, doesn't notice all the others.
No, you want guilty pleasure. I'll give you guilty pleasure.
Go ahead.
I like the Train song, Hey Soul Sister.
Oh, well, I've heard that was a hit though.
It was a hit, but that is cheese whiz,
it's
man.
Cheese. Now there's cheese in this guilty pleasure. Like you could play that while you're driving in a car with somebody.
Not
putting on
not in my house.
Brand New Lover. So how about let's see. Let's come up with a good one. How about Amy Grant? Baby, baby.
Oh, that's a good one, Scott.
Yeah. 1991, Amy Grant. Baby, baby.
You know what? I apologize.
He was a nice Christian hottie too.
I apologize, but you really should be ashamed of yourself for that one.
That's a good one.
That is shameful.
I like that song.
That is shame.
That's a good one. How about Yvonne Elliman?
If I can't have you,
I don't want nobody, baby. I'm worse than Flintstone.
I'd like to see Colin's reaction if you're coming out of the shower dancing to that one.
Yeah. What about Rick Astley? Is his stuff considered a guilty pleasure now, or because it's so Never Gonna Give You Up and Together Forever, which if you listen to them, they pretty much sound like the exact same song.
Together forever, I will beat you with leather.
Oh, Jesus. So what else do I got?
How about here's one for you. Donna Summer. Last Dance.
I don't know. That's a good song.
Well, you know what? Here's one interesting thing. As time goes by, the guilty pleasures become more acceptable.
Exactly.
So I will tell you, and I will admit to this. I remember being at, I think it was the Grateful Dead, down on the floor with a bunch of my idiot friends with a white bed sheet that we wrote Disco Sucks on, and the crowd went crazy. But I guarantee you, the next day I went home and listened to Donna Summers.
Right.
But now, Donna Summers is cool.
How about from 2001, Kylie Minogue, Can't Get You Out of My Head, Girl, you're all that I want to think about.
A definite guilty pleasure, Suzanne.
I can't believe this is going to be on the internet forever. This is never going away. I'm really bearing my music soul right now.
So what about it? What about anything current? Is there anything current? Like I will tell you that there are a bunch of Ed Sheeran fan songs that I like.
Yeah.
Thinking Out Loud is a great song.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I play it in the shower, I guarantee if my wife or daughter hear it, they would bust my chops to no end. Deservedly so. But I think he's a good songwriter. It's a good song, well crafted. Bravo. I'm not ashamed. I'll admit it.
How about the Cardigans from 1996? Love me, say that you love me, fool me, Love Fool. Come on. That's a
Yeah.
good song.
So do you really like that song?
I do.
What do you like about that song?
I like the melody. I like her voice.
You know what I like, Scott? You know what I like, Scott? Is as you're actually talking about this, your voice is a lot higher than it normally is.
I am just taking a beating tonight. I don't care.
I like the Cardigans. They're really good.
I do. It's a good song.
Hey, I could be in the Bronski beat.
No, I could be in the Bronski beat. It's more like Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse with a great voice. That's it. So let's see. What else do I have here? I have how about this one? Does this one ever break through from that 70s, like you just said? Rod Stewart from 78, Do You Think I'm Sexy?
Not a great song, but again, I think forgiven with time.
Really? Even now?
I think that it's an acceptable song now. I think back in the day, especially, Rod Stewart went way disco, not only in terms of the music that he was playing, but with the fashion and everything, with like the satin clothes and all that. Rod Stewart was a tremendous artist. I loved all of his stuff in the early 70s. I didn't love that song particularly that much, but great artist, fantastic live performer, by the way. Amazing.
So then there's a song from 97 by White Town, Your Woman. Well, I guess what you say is true. I could never be the right kind of fool for you. I could never be your woman.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
So that's my wife calls that the Star Wars song, because that's Darth Vader's marching song. Right? She called it. I was like, yeah. So that song, I love that song, right? It's a guy saying I could never be a woman, right? But so I got to give you a little background, because this was interesting. The singer is Yorki Mersha is his name, all right? He says the theme of that song is being a member of an orthodox Trotsky Marxist movement, being a straight guy in love with a lesbian, being a gay guy in love with a straight man, being a straight girl in love with a lying, two-timing, fake-ass Marxist, and the hypocrisy that results when love and lust gets mixed up in highbrow ideals. I don't know how he gets all that out of I will never be your woman. I don't know. These people are insane.
So let me ask you this. Do you have, so moving away from just a single song, are there artists, bands, performers that you listen to that you catch shit for?
Well, I guess. Who would I say I catch shit for? Like
I know that you and I, to a certain extent, catch a bunch of shit from people that hate you too.
Well, yeah, that's just because they hate the popularity of them, and they just they went in the opposite direction. But like, I mean, I like this. Like, as far as new music, I really like Post Malone. But I could say that to somebody, and they'll be like, "Who's that?"
Yeah,
oh, that's pop garbage.
Yeah,
I'll
tell you that the band / artist that I get crap for all the time, the Dave Matthews Band. Everybody in my house, well, that's not true. My son has a great appreciation for the Dave Matthews Band, but my wife despises the Dave Matthews Band. So does my daughter, and so do a lot of my friends. They don't get it, and for whatever reason, that band touches my ears and touches my heart and touches my soul. I love those guys.
I like the Dave Matthews Band. I do. I like the band. I put them in that kind of category like I do with Incubus. They're very big touring group, and they have a large following that follows them wherever they go.
Yeah.
They really have like that unique ability to have followers for concerts. U2 doesn't have followers like they have.
No question about it. I
committed
mean,
fans
the Dave Matthews Band, fans, they have kind of that Grateful Dead element to them where people follow them around show after show. And that's because, one of the things that's great about that band is much like, Pearl Jam or the Dead, they mix up their set lists all the time. They know their entire catalog, and there's not one show that's like another. And that's one of the reasons why you don't have people following U2. U2 shows are largely almost scripted.
Oh, they were scripted in the past. Yeah. That's why the show in Philadelphia that I saw, I believe it was the Atomic Bomb concert, right? How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb, right? Was it Atom Bomb?
The Vertigo tour or whatever it was called?
No, Vertigo I don't think that was the same tour. So if it wasn't that one, it was the next one. It was all that you can leave behind, all that you don't need, you can leave behind.
That was the tour before.
That was the one before it. So it might have been the Vertigo one. It was the first time I saw them ever change it up, and they played some B-sides. And I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Then they started, and I can't off the top of my head remember what it was, but they did like 5 or 6 songs that I'd never seen them play before. And I haven't seen them 27 times like you. I've only seen them 6 times, but I've seen them enough to know that they do the same show. It's the same set list. And this one was it was different, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing about U2 that bums me out a little bit is that, whether people realize it or not, whether people think it's cheating or whatnot, is they play to a backing track to a certain extent. And their lights and their production keeps them largely on a schedule. Now, it's nice to hear that they were able to deviate that from that when you actually saw them that time. But that's a rarity. Their shows are productions. They are shows that are, here's your cue. You need to be here at this point. You need to be over here at this point. Where a band like the Dave Matthews Band, or even Pearl Jam for that matter, they hardly even know what song they're going to play next, even while they're on stage.
Right. And they can change it up. Supposedly Pearl Jam does their set list like 10 minutes before they go on.
So somewhere between 10 minutes and an hour before the show, and you see them change stuff on the fly, it happens all the time. That's one of the reasons why, the last time that they played at Fenway, they played 2 nights, and I went both nights. So between the 2 nights, I think they played a total of 54 songs. They repeated 4.
Yeah.
It was something ridiculous like that. That's talent. That's crazy.
Oh, it is. And that says a lot for the musicianship that they
absolutely
have, that they don't have. This sound check doesn't really exist. It's literally a sound. Like, how do we sound? They're not rehearsing, So you mentioned it earlier. I have actually 2 George Michael guilty pleasures. Okay. And the first one is Faith. Song does not leave. If I land on it and it's 3/4 of the way through the song, I'm finishing the song, right? I like that song. I like Limp Bizkit's version too.
Oh, I hate Limp Bizkit's version of it.
Oh, I love that version.
I hate it.
I love it. I love it.
I don't necessarily mind, Faith. I think it's okay. I don't think it aged particularly well.
Well, I don't know. I don't think of it that way because I like the song. So I
just think it sounds a little dated to me.
Then my favorite song by George Michael is
Freedom 90.
Yes. And it's an awesome video. Great video.
Yeah, because he's not really in it.
No, and he did that on purpose. He designed it that way. They get all the supermodels, but Freedom 90 is a great song. You want a song that you could sing to, and just scream out, I'm not going to sing it, but out of respect for George Michael, which you touched on something. How many people, when George Michael unfortunately died on that Christmas day, right? Like, I think it was like 7 years ago now, maybe more. Not sure. But how many people had a second thought and said, you know what? Maybe he wasn't that bad. Like, it's almost like they posthumously decided they don't have to not like George Michael anymore. They don't have to put him down. The guy's dead. He went through a lot. His life story is there's 100 YouTube videos on George Michael's life. One thing George Michael was good at was making fun of himself. The guy always bounced back. But
I don't know. When George Michael passed, I don't think that gave him a pass from people. I think that he had that prior to that. I mean, he did a lot of great music, and I think the people that hated George Michael because he was George Michael were always going to hate George Michael. But I think, and you know what, the other thing that I wanted to mention is, I think this is yet again an indication that America is tied up in gender, and we get kind of boxed in from a musical standpoint. Like you don't have the same hesitancy, the same disregard for music in the UK or even other parts of the world. They're far, far more accepting of different forms and different types of music, far, far more open than we are.
Yeah, I can neither confirm nor deny that. I can take your word for it, though. I've never really.
Of course, you got to take my word for it because I'm right.
Listen, all right, you won the stupid contest. All right, don't start getting all egotistical on me now.
Well, at least now that if our show is really rolling and we want to bring it to a screeching halt, we know who to call.
Well, we're coming up on the hour. The reason we did do this, though, there is kind of a reason. Next week, we wanted to just kind of lighten it up a little bit. We wanted to kind of bring a little humor to the show. We have our humor during regular shows, but we just wanted to just change it up every once in a while. We'll do this every 3 or 4 months, whatever. We'll come in with a show like this. It's light. It's nothing serious. But next week is going to be a heavy hitter because next week we're going to be digging into Led Zeppelin.
Overrated.
And so we're going to dig into Led Zeppelin next week. So we wanted to kind of lighten it up this week. Really, this wasn't really a big research show. This was literally a list show, So next week we're going to be doing Led Zeppelin, an hour on Led Zeppelin. And so this is why we punched this out today. All right, let's get to the final segment of this podcast episode of What You Got, What's New, What Do You Got For Me?
So I tell you, this show and us being somewhat committed to exploring new music and buying vinyl, it's getting expensive, man.
We can talk downloads every once in a while.
Yeah. So I think I might have actually even talked about this one, but this may actually fall into a guilty pleasure, category. But the new Lizzo album, love it.
You had mentioned her a little while ago, yeah,
love it. But I went out and actually picked up the vinyl, which is, it's interesting to see a 50-plus-year-old guy go in and buy this record. But then, again, to sound like a broken record, I picked up 2 new jazz records, Grant Green Slick and Grant Green from Paris, this is amazing. This is actually a 3-record set, recorded live in Paris in 1970. Scott, I have to tell you, if you ever take a recommendation from me, knowing your love of funk, these are not, they're technically jazz albums, but these are funk records. They're amazing.
Okay. I believe you mentioned him before, so I'm going to, I forgot who it was this week.
If you check out Slick, check it out it's on Spotify.
I'm going to write it down, actually. So Grant Green,
Slick. I'll tell you, one of the greatest jazz guitar players of all time. And now one of my favorite guitar players of all time, well above Jimmy Page. Jeremy Page.
Jeremy Page.
Jeremy.
Is that his long lost brother, Jeremy?
Jeremy Page.
Well, I don't have anything this week. I'm not even going to make it up. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't have anything this week. I didn't do any digging. I didn't do any buying. I didn't really do much downloading this week.
Awesome.
So yeah. So I guess we're good with all that. All right, listen, man. We're about at 55 minutes. That's about our threshold. Everybody,
We're at 55 minutes. We had 15 minutes of good show.
that's about right. And we got our argument out of the way right at the beginning. That seems so long ago. I don't even know what we were arguing about.
What were we arguing about?
I don't know. That guy Flintstone just threw us totally off our game.
What were we arguing about before we actually started the show?
I don't know. I can't even remember what we were arguing about. This show is totally. I don't even know.
Well, I'm asking the question, so I don't know either. Wait, are my pants on?
Okay. All right. So for everybody viewing, thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you for participating. We went well over 100 comments on this show. Thanks to the artist known as Flintstone for donating his rusty pipes to his vocal. What would you call it? Vocal. Not stylings, because there's no style in it.
Nightmare, car crash, train wreck.
Yeah, vocal
pandemic.
car crash. It's his vocal car crash.
He got better as he went along.
Says you, because you can understand him.
No, I didn't say he was good. I just said he got better.
All right. I want to thank them. I want to thank everyone for watching. Everybody who's listening. If you like this show, listen to the pod. If you listen to the podcast, give us a comment, give us a rating, follow, subscribe. We do this every week. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Overcast, Pocket Cast, most every podcast platform we're on. So if you watch the show, go and listen to it. Give us a review. We would appreciate that. Like I said last week, we're on a steady incline, which is better than a steady decline. So with that, Jack, stay on. Everybody else, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. And we'll see you next episode. Next Wednesday, we'll be streaming live again over YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And we will be covering Led Zeppelin. So with all that, go to our podcast sites. Download them. We need downloads. We want downloads. Be a member. Oh, and if you have any show suggestions, this is the longest outro ever. If there's any show suggestions, you can email us at milkcratesandturntables@gmail.com. Once again, any show suggestions, any comments, any corrections, email us at milkcratesandturntables@gmail.com. We are open. We've already, I put it out the other day on social media, and we got a bunch of suggestions for shows. So hit us up. And with that, we'll see you next week. Jack, hang on.